Hello, everyone, and welcome to our parent meeting for the Virtual School of Cleveland. My name is Cliff Eason, and I am the Student and Facilities Support Specialist for Cleveland City Schools. My role in the virtual school is to assist in coordinating the program and to serve as a point of contact for parents. Tonight, we have planned a brief presentation in which we will share some information from our handbook. We want to let you meet the grade level Blade facilitator and let her give you some information regarding her role. And we also want to share some announcements and updates from our board meeting that occurred just earlier today. As we get started, please watch this video covering some key points outlined in our handbook. Consistent attendance and participation in a student's virtual school courses is required. Students will be given weekly assignments with completion goals described by the pacing guide for each course. Students should expect that assignments will take approximately as long to complete as students enrolled in a traditional classroom, which is usually 6.5 hours daily. However, since courses are self-paced, students may complete their assignments in less time or work ahead if they so choose. Attendance for the previous week will be recorded on Mondays. Students will be counted absent for each day where work was not completed by the guidelines in the pacing guide. All guidelines associated with absences set by a student's zoned school will apply to the virtual school students. Students are expected to complete their own work without any unauthorized help. Plagiarism and cheating are violations of school policies. Consequences for these actions can be assigned by the teacher and/or administration. Copying answers, using unapproved assistance for completing quizzes and tests, and turning in others' work as your own are examples of violations of the academic integrity guidelines. Let's remember, a student is not going to learn all that they need to if they aren't doing the work themselves. All students will have access to course instructors on a regular basis. Teachers will set specific office hours and be available for conferences with students by email, phone calls, or virtual meetings. Questions regarding coursework or other school-related issues should be directed to course instructors first. Other staff members, like myself and the Blade facilitator, will be available for additional support, and our contact information will be provided on our website. Students enrolled in the Virtual School of Cleveland are eligible to receive meals from their school cafeterias. Meals must be picked up from the student's zoned school at a designated time and location determined by school staff. Zoned schools will provide both breakfast and lunch during meal pickup times. Students enrolled in the Virtual School of Cleveland will be given the opportunity to participate in extracurricular activities that occur after the traditional school day has ended. However, students will not be allowed to participate in activities that are included as part of the traditional school day. Some examples of this are band and cheerleading. If a student wanted to participate in band, they would not be able to do so because that is a course that takes place during the school day and not just an after-school activity. Cheerleading would be an example of something that a student could participate in because it is simply an after-school activity and does not involve a component during the school day. Students would be subject to the same guidelines for regulations, disciplinary action, transportation, and so forth as all other students are. All students participating in Virtual School of Cleveland are considered Cleveland City School students and are zoned for a specific school. Therefore, they do have a counselor available from their zoned school for conferences or other services as needed. Requests regarding counseling services should be directed to a student's teacher initially for further information.
Welcome to the parent meeting of the Virtual School of Cleveland for elementary parents. I'm Andrea Phillips. I'm the elementary Blade facilitator for Cleveland City Schools. If you have questions, you can reach me at alphillips@clevelandschools.org. Previously, I taught 3rd and 4th grade at Blythe Bower Elementary and served as their RTI facilitator. Currently, my role is to support traditional classroom and virtual school teachers in integrating technology to enhance student learning. The Virtual School of Cleveland's elementary programming will include 4 core classes: language arts, math, science, and social studies, and will also provide instruction in physical education and technology. Tools and supplies that students will need include a device that will support Canvas, which we'll be using to deliver the curriculum, Google Hangouts, which we will utilize for teleconferencing. We will also use additional Google for Education products as necessary. Your students' logins will be provided by their virtual school teacher the first week of school, and that will begin on August 10th. There are some course-specific supplies that are typical school supplies like notebooks and folders. Those will be communicated by the classroom teacher once rosters have been created, and it will be a specific time for the teacher to reach out to families to give you the opportunity to ask questions then as well. Once your student has been successfully enrolled and set up in a class with the Virtual School of Cleveland, there are certain requirements. One of those is that your student is completing classroom lessons. The Virtual School of Cleveland estimates that each student will need to participate in roughly 6.5 hours of coursework per subject each week. Those do not have to be consecutive hours. It is self-paced, and students can leave and come back to lessons. There is some scheduled learning, so if your child's teacher has office hours for parents and students to ask questions, those will be set time periods. Teachers will offer small group learning, and those will be scheduled times. Also, if students require interventions or other types of tutoring, those may also be set scheduled times. Parents play a large role in the learning process. It will vary by your student's age and also their general level of independence. In general, you should be prepared to spend a few hours each day supporting your students' learning. The types of learning that your student will encounter in the Virtual School of Cleveland include self-paced, computer-based learning. That is your student and computer-based lessons, and they progress through the lessons at their own pace. They can review material, go back, rewatch videos, or review PowerPoints. There is sometimes a paper and pencil practice component. There's also virtual lessons that will be facilitated by Cleveland City Schools teachers, including small group lessons. Also things like office hours where parents and students can pop in and ask questions and get clarification. The learning will be assessed in a variety of ways, and students will do periodic standards-based mastery. They will receive traditional grades. They will be reports of progress that go home to parents. And there will be conferences that the virtual school teachers have with parents, keeping you up to date on how your student is progressing through the modules. Typical school-based services will also be provided, such as school counselors. They'll be available to support students' social and emotional development. If your student is an English language learner and is qualified for English language services, They will continue to receive those services. Speech and special education interventions will be provided where appropriate. If you have enrollment questions, those can be directed to uchelp@clevelandschools.org. If you have questions about the Cleveland Virtual Schools elementary programming, again, you can email me at alphillips@cleveland.
At this time, I'd like to share a few updates and announcements. Earlier today, our Board of Education had a special called meeting. In that meeting, they made the decision to lift the cap from our virtual school program. Originally, we were looking at enrolling only 300 students for the virtual school. With their move today, we will now be able to accept basically any Cleveland City Schools student that would like to be involved in that program. I know this is welcome news for many of you parents and students that were concerned as to whether or not you'd be able to get into the program. With that change taking place, we have decided to extend our online registration. Online registration will now end on Tuesday, July 28th at 4:30. Our board also made the decision to allow changes as far as enrollment in the virtual school for mid-year. What this basically means is that a student no longer has to commit to the virtual school for an entire year. They can now just commit for one semester at a time. So I know that that was something that we got a lot of questions on as well, and I'm sure that's something you all will be glad to hear. Spanish-speaking families that may need assistance from an interpreter for questions relating to the virtual school, please visit our website. There is some information located there in order to help you with that need. Our presentation tonight was created by the parents, basically. We listened to all of the different questions, looked through the text messages, phone calls, and so forth, and tried to come up with a presentation that would try to answer most of those questions. We thank you so much for your input. It was very valuable. I hope that we've been able to be beneficial to you in regard to answering these questions tonight. However, if you did not get an answer to a question that you needed to hear about tonight, please go on our website, get in contact with us. We do want to help you. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. We are certainly looking forward to another great year in Cleveland City Schools. Thank you for your time and attention. Good night.